You're an agent, but you're also a salesperson.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're also an accountant.
Yeah, and you're also trying to like make sure everyone's feeling good.
And sometimes you're also a therapist. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hey. I am Karol, one of Jenny's agents at B&A, and I'm here with Jenny Jiang.
Hello.
Hey. Jenny, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny. I am a CGI artist. I'm from New Zealand. I would say my work is very whimsical, colorful, joyous. I really love creating environments and worlds that feel surreal, but also could be in real life as well.
I feel like your work also is a state of mind. It's bubbly, it's light, it's fun.
Yeah.
And like a lot of CGI that we see tends to be really like edgy, sleek,
Right.
manly,
Yeah, yeah.
strong. So it's kind of a nice vibe that you're bringing into that space. It's, strong point.
I mean, I feel like I create a lot of my work through my emotions. Like, I love to explore this joyous, like, serene world. I like creating places that I want to escape to. But yeah, Karol, tell me about yourself.
My name is Karol with a K. I am an artist agent. So Jenny is one of the artists that I get to represent at B&A. Born in Queens. I'm still in Queens. I might die in
New
Queens.
Yorker.
Yeah. I'm proud of what I've been able to do, and I really love my job, and I like working with artists like you.
Yeah, and I love working with you.
Oh my God, I'm gonna blush. You were signed by B&A by another agent. And when was the first time that we met in person? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was in like 2023
Okay.
early. I came to visit the office, and I haven't actually signed with anyone yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. I think it was like kind of like a meet everyone kind of
Yes,
thing.
it's like a vibe check.
Yeah, like a vibe check.
Yeah. In the corporate world, we call that a chemistry call. I remember you were really cool, and you brought your computer and you showed us your work.
Yes.
And Sam was in town as well.
Yeah,
So it was like,
everyone was in town.
it was just you and like 6 of us.
I know. I was very excited.
That must have been a little bit intimidating.
A little bit. I was
Yeah.
really nervous. My mom was waiting outside in the
What?
Bloomingdales.
Stop, I didn't know that.
Oh,
I
no,
love
we were very nervous,
Mom.
but I was really happy after meeting everyone.
my
I think everyone
gosh.
was like so nice.
That's really cute.
Yeah, yeah.
And you hadn't worked with an agent before.
I've never worked with an agent before.
Okay. So this has
Yeah.
been your first experience.
It's my first experience. I would say I'm like very lucky
Yeah.
because I've had a few friends that had experience with agents that hasn't been like so positive.
Yeah.
But I feel like working with everyone at B&A it's just been really nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I like that I'm in New York and I get to like catch up with you guys. as
Yeah, we
well.
do bother you a lot and see you in person.
So it's good. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
So Jenny, since you've signed, it's been 3 years, what do you think have been some of the ways your work has evolved during that time? Because I remember we had like an early meeting about like, what's next for Jenny?
Yeah, I think I started off with a very specific style. It's just like mostly creating these landscapes and very like whimsical environments. But throughout the years, I've had to adapt with like, what's in the market or what's popular. One of the biggest things was the fake out of home one.
And just mixing your CGI stuff with live action. And I remember we had that conversation because at the time we were also experimenting a lot with Spark AR.
Yeah.
RIP. You literally just hit the streets with your iPhone. And I think you even did one at home where you were just
Yeah.
like, oh, let me just get some shots of the streets and see what I can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was really exciting. It was cool to see how I can bring aspects of my art into like a literal real world environment. So it looks like it's real, but there's like magic in it. that,
Yeah.
Yeah, I still like.
Yeah. The merging of both worlds.
Yeah, and I think brands really liked it as well. It was, really popular.
That was also during the time when like Jacquemus made a big fake out of home ad and
Yeah.
like every client was referencing that. Everybody wanted a version of that. And we were like, Jenny, we're already heading in this direction. Like,
Yeah.
and you kind of did some personal work and then
Like
the
explored
inquiries
it.
started coming in. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
really sort of made a name for yourself in that space, at least from like the agent side. Like that's what we tell a lot of our artists. There is no slow period because if it is slow for you, then that is the time to be doing some personal work, to be experimenting, to like really just watch what's happening in the market. What are your competitors up to? And how do you stay on top of your game? And you've really definitely done that. You're definitely hungry. You're a person that
Yeah.
is always like, okay, what's next, guys?
Gotta pay the bills, man.
We actually have some like really cool props here from some of those out of homes. This plant is a star.
Yes.
She was a part of what?
She was a part of the Starbucks video.
Yes.
Yeah, so
And it was shot in this apartment, which
it
is
was
really
shot in this
cool.
apartment. I get a lot of free stuff from clients, which is good. Now I have like an unlimited supply of body wash and
But we prefer
dishwash.
cash. I'm just making it clear
Yes,
as the agent.
definitely cash.
And I know you have some palm olive soap
Yeah.
as well.
The dish soap.
From the really cool Walmart animation that you
ad.
did. Palm olive and fabuloso.
Yeah.
Peach scents.
Very peachy. The Saint Laurent.
That was really cool. Where did you go to shoot that beach scene?
That was the Hamptons, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've never been to the Hamptons before.
Okay.
So I was just like, and they wanted it to be set in the Hamptons.
But was it peak season or?
It was August.
Oh, so yeah.
Yeah.
But it's empty, so you must have gone really early to shoot
Yeah,
that.
we went to like an empty area of that
good.
beach, like on like a weekday.
Smart.
Because I was just like, okay, like I should just drive there and just do it.
And just figure
Like
it
who
out.
cares?
I
So we
like
got some,
that.
like cool like beach videos.
Yeah, I like that because you're always down to just like roll up your sleeves and like, we'll
Just
figure it
do
out.
it. Yeah.
We'll figure it out, guys.
I don't have a plan, but I'll just do it. And they actually preferred the footage that I took there as opposed to the stock footage,
Nice.
which is good.
I think what's great about those videos too is that normally it's just for social media, so you can totally shoot it on your iPhone.
Yeah, it looks more real.
It looks more real,
which is what they're trying to go for.
And we've also done others where it's like, a professional camera and a director. It all depends on budget.
A lot of people ask me about, what it's like to work with an agent. And I feel like in my experience working with you, it feels like I'm protected. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes of what makes like a project happen in the first place.
Every agent has a different way of working, right? But something that I believe in is like, I'd rather over communicate.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes you get a lot of emails and texts and calls from me when I'm trying to like problem solve a project because a lot of clients sometimes don't also know how to put together a proper brief. They'll add a link to something that you did. It's like, oh my God, we want this. And I'm like, all right, hold on.
Yeah.
We need to talk about like usage, length, timeline, like actual scope. Like, what are we doing here? And sometimes they don't know. So
Yeah.
it's
So you
kind of my
guide the
job to
client.
sort of like talk to you and be like, okay, realistically, if we were to work this out, like, how do we stitch this together in a way that works for you? Sometimes they accept, sometimes it doesn't work for them, sometimes timelines just don't align, and that's okay. But my job really is to kind of just always find a way to make it work. And there have also been situations where a project wasn't right for you, but I'm able to flip it over to another B&A artist and vice versa. Because sometimes clients will just like find somebody on Instagram, but they're not aware of like everybody else that we represent. There's like a million different directions that you can make a project go from like an idea to a reality, and this is happening. That's kind of like the agent's job, is to try to like, push it in the right direction so that it can set everybody up for success and we can actually make something awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like you problem solve a lot with the
My
with the
whole
clients
life
as
is problem solving, like all the time.
Yeah. Karol is very good at her job because once the project actually arrives to me, there's like a full brief. Like I know exactly what the client wants, the amount of time that they want a video to be, the budget.
I think that's important too, because ideally, right, the client will come to you with like, okay, this is our scope, this is our terms, can you do it? And that's great. And we can like work around that and find a way to like make it work. Cause then we know like, okay, those are where the guardrails are. Awesome. Love the clarity. But sometimes, especially with CGI, a lot of brands haven't taken the leap and experimented with CGI yet.
Right.
So, it's a bit more of
Like a back and forth.
A back and forth.
Yeah.
There's some like education that needs to happen. Like I need to understand, how do you guys normally work? And they need to understand, how do we normally work? And then we're going to find that like happy medium, right? So in those situations, I also find that it's helpful to just, ask all the questions. Ideally try to get them on a call, just because then I can like show them links of like different examples, like look at the different ways that we've tackled these fake out of home projects or these types of animations. Sometimes it's 100% CGI. Sometimes we hit the streets and we shoot it with an iPhone. Sometimes we hit the streets and we shoot it a little bit more professionally. Sometimes you shoot it and give us the footage. Like we figure it out. And I think it's important for clients to understand the different ways that we can tackle it. Yeah, lots of conversations, lots of questions. And if they truly do not know, then what I tell them is like, all right, then give me your realistic budget. And we'll tell you like what we can do with that budget. Because I think it's important to also be realistic, because I don't want any artist going into a project where they're already set up to fail. And a lot of clients have like their idea is like they want the sun, the moon, and the stars, you know, but their budget is like, I can give you a Post-it note with a picture of a sun and a moon and a star.
Right.
But, you know, we find a way to make it work. What do you wish clients knew about your CGI pipeline?
Wow. I mean, I think most of the time it takes longer than people think it would. If it's like, you know, building a model, for example, someone actually needs to, you know, take like a simple shape and actually make it into a 3D model that's, you know, very accurate to their product. And usually that can take like a week or so. We still need to tweak. We need like art files, like packaging files from the client. So it may sound like pretty simple, like, oh, can you just like put our bottle into a scene? But it's like, no, we actually need to take like a week to make it look like that and make it look realistic in a computer program. And another thing I think is like, you know, rendering.
What is rendering?
I don't know if I'm explaining this right because I'm not like a tech guy, but basically I make the thing on my computer and then you press the render button and then it makes it into an image, like a file that you can like send through. That can take forever.
Yeah, especially if they need like super high res.
Super high res.
Super high res, super long time.
Like a frame can take up to like an hour, like in half an hour, depending on, you know, what it is. And if it's an animation, I've had renders that go up to like 17 hours for like a 10-second animation.
Wow.
Yeah, so that also takes a really long time.
And, you know, if you have any sort of tech problems, well, then it's like, okay, start over.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, the importance of being adaptable. Well, I, for one, am a water sign, so I just fit into whatever shape you throw me in.
Are you a Pisces?
I'm a Cancer.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my mom's a Cancer.
Ooh, so you get it. I'm not moody. I just feel all of my feelings all at once.
Right.
But in a project, I do think it's important to be adaptable as well. What are your thoughts on that? Within reason, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I think for like, as an artist, in my experience, I've had to adapt my work quite a bit to like obviously fit the client's needs. I'm at the end of the day working for the client. I can't just like, you know, do whatever I think is good or like do whatever I want. So I think that's like pretty important, but also going into the fake out of home stuff, for me, it was important to learn like what was trending and like what is that like clients are looking for, so you know I can push my work as well and not just always, you know, be doing the same thing. But I'm also curious like what it's like for an agent. Like, do you have to see what's like in market right now?
We definitely have to be adaptable. I also like to say, like, not every artist is created equal. You know, some artists are comfortable with certain terms. Some artists are absolutely not comfortable with certain terms.
Right.
And it's my duty to make sure that they understand what they're agreeing to when they accept a project. Because it might not be right for someone, but somebody else might be okay with it, right? And that's not to say that one is better than the other. It's just that, you know, we're all different.
Yeah.
But another way to be adaptable, I guess, is just rolling with the changes.
Yeah.
You know, you don't necessarily know who's looking at the rounds that you're delivering on the other side. Sometimes it's going through the creative team. Sometimes it's also the marketing team. Sometimes it's also like other stakeholders and account teams that I don't even know the types of jobs that they do. That's why it's so important for us to try to nail down like a very precise scope and like make sure we're all on the same page in terms of expectations. Because if there is scope creep or we just go over and beyond those expectations, I always like to try to give the client the benefit of the doubt and like be a little bit flexible. But those small add-ons add up.
They add up. Yeah. And I think that's what's so good for me about like working with an agent is because I know like you can step in and just be like, this is a little bit going beyond the scope.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
let's talk about this.
Exactly.
Maybe there's a way that we can sort of hone in on one thing versus then having Jenny get paid for one deliverable, but you're wanting her to explore 3 different ones.
Right. You guys have to be really good communicators.
Yeah.
That's like a big skill.
That's pretty important. Early on in my career, I found it really difficult to like be real with a client, to really level with a client because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. Right?
Yeah.
But it's not just about them. Like in any relationship, it goes both ways, right? So it actually will be out of respect for you if I am more honest with you about the path we're heading down and what like issues can come up if we keep going down this way.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for an agent to be very active. Like, okay, just want to make sure everyone's feeling good and that we're sticking with the plan as much as we can, you know, and things will happen. Sometimes things happen with the artist, you know, it's not just always on the client. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
So we owe each other that honesty and that realness.
How do you feel like you became more comfortable in being more honest, I guess?
Oh my gosh. This might be a little bit too real. I feel like women in particular are like certain things in society kind of want to push you to be smaller.
I'm very people pleasing.
I'm very people pleasing too, but I have just like decided that, you know what, if people want me to be smaller, fuck it. I'm just going to be bigger. I actually feel the same about weight gain. Like I'm just going to take up more space. And I'm not going to be a bitch about it. Like, if I'm genuinely wrong about something, I have no problem, like, acknowledging that and apologizing. But I will protect myself and my people and, you know, work with everybody to try to find the best path forward. Because we want the same thing, right?
Yes.
We want something really cool that we can then see out in the world and be like, I played a role in that and I feel really good about that. You know, everybody wants that. So let's work together to do that.
No, that's what I admire so much about you is that I feel like you're so strong and like you're not like, you know, afraid to just like, you know, tell people no or like, you know, it's, I think that's really good. And it makes me feel very safe as well because I feel like usually if a client says, oh, like, can you just add this one on? Most of the time I'll just be like, okay, yeah, I'll just like do it, you know, even though it might be like out of the scope or it might take more time for me.
And I think it's case by case too,
it is case by
right?
case.
Sometimes like a project is going great and it hasn't been like too crazy, not too much feedback or something, and they want like an extra thing that's like not going to take super long to do. It's like, all right, sure. Yeah, totally.
We're chill.
It's part of the partnership, you know? You have a good relationship, you're going to feel good about certain things, you know? And you also want to make sure that you're, you know, establishing that relationship, which is very important for the artist, right? Because I can come in and be like the bad guy, kind of. I don't know why I did that. But if I have to. But ideally, we want us all to have a really good working relationship so that we can turn it into a repeat relationship, repeat business, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's kind of the end goal for anybody.
So I asked my followers on Instagram about any questions they have with working with an agent.
Okay, all right. Let's do this.
Okay, so first one, how do I find an agent and work with them?
First of all, it's important to focus on your portfolio because you want to make sure that you are in a good place to actually have an agent. And not everybody needs an agent either. So it really just depends on like the type of person you are, the kind of artist you are, and the kind of business person you may or may not want to be. For B&A, we do have a submissions box where a lot of artists will submit their portfolio and tell us a little bit about their work. And then, you know, as a team, sometimes we'll go through it just to see how things are looking. And we have arranged meetings with a lot of artists that have submitted through those portfolios. I think it's also important to be in touch with the creative community and see like who are the new artists that are looking for representation. Sometimes they're at a point in their career where it's not quite right for us to sign them yet. And in those cases, we'll like keep tabs on them and see like, you know, how are things going?
When would you say is like a good time for an artist to be signed?
I think it's also going to depend on the agency, right? But I believe that it's important to have some experience working with clients. I think it's important to understand how a project typically runs. I think it's important to understand how to communicate with clients. It's important to understand how to manage your time and deliver things on time. At B&A, we represent emerging artists as well as like very well-established artists. So there's a range. And sometimes we take people on that need a little bit more development. When we see like intense potential, it's going to be case by case.
Okay.
There's no like winning formula. I don't know if that like answers
Yeah,
your
no, it
question.
definitely answers. Yeah, for sure. Okay, this is a question for me. It says,
Ooh, so
do
I
you-
have to ask it.
okay.
Do you communicate with clients yourself?
I do. I think this is also different with like each agency as well. I have worked with agencies where they take care of all the communication and I just do the creative work. But I think something that I really appreciate about working with B&A is that I get to have a direct communication with the client and also like form a relationship there. And also just like it's, in my experience, more productive and just faster to directly talk to the client.
100% agree. I always tell clients, like, I'm very active in the beginning and in the end of the project, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning, we're ironing out the scope. We're making sure the business side is all tied up into a pretty bow and we all feel good about it. Once all of that's good to go, then I connect them directly to you. And then, like, you get to do all the fun stuff. I stay on CC. I get to watch it. If something goes wrong, then I'll, like, intercede. But if nothing goes wrong, you are the star in that room and you handle all that communication. And then when it's time to invoice, then I come back on stage.
Yeah. No, I think it works for me. It's really good. Yeah, and I just like take care of all the creative stuff and you know, go back and forth with the feedback. So.
Exactly.
Okay, next question. What exactly do agents do on a regular basis?
Oof. Day to day is going to differ in terms of like how many projects I might be handling at the same time. Is everything under control? Are there any fires that need to be put out? But I think day to day, there are like a couple of important things that I need to keep my eye on. I need to keep my eye on leads, right? And outreach. Where are the places that I should be planting seeds for tomorrow? Emailing, LinkedIn, presentations, meetings, and also just like keeping an eye on like what's happening with the market. What are the really cool campaigns coming out? And like, how do I position myself to be the person that gets my artists those campaigns tomorrow? I think it's also important to stay on top of my artists, make sure that they're feeling good. Where's their work heading? If somebody is really, really busy, like, are you doing okay? Is there anything I can do to help? If somebody is not very, very busy, okay, what can we do about this? What can we do about your portfolio? How do we push things so that you can actually get paid again? I have to, of course, stay on top of the projects that are happening. That's why I always want to be on CC. I'm usually not very active, but I am watching. I am skimming through every single email, all of the creative feedback, just to make sure that everything is chugging along nicely. And number 4, I have to stay on top of my paperwork too. And that includes like the contracts for the jobs that we're about to greenlight, as well as the invoices for the jobs that we are closing and we just finished delivering. I think that's kind of like top 4 things that I try to tackle day to day. And some days it's more of one thing than another, but I think that's a good sum up.
Yeah, no, I think there's like so much that you do.
Yeah.
That goes like behind the scenes of like everything, especially, you know, pitching your artists to all the clients, like having these presentations, having these meetings, as well as just actually managing jobs that are happening at the same time.
Yeah, because it's like you're an agent, but you're also a salesperson.
Yeah.
And you're also an accountant.
Yeah, and you're also trying to like make sure everyone's feeling good.
And sometimes you're also a therapist.
It's many hats.
Yep, many hats, all the hats.
Okay, another question for me was, if a client finds me directly, am I allowed to work with them directly or only via my agent?
It's a good question.
So I'm obligated to send everything to my agents, but I don't think that is a bad thing because they handle all of like the negotiations, the budgets, the contracts, and I only take care of the creative work, which at the end of the day is good with me because I feel like, you know, it takes a lot off my shoulders.
It's actually a really good question because I think it goes both ways, right? Like if you boil down the artist-agent relationship, it's just like any other relationship.
Yeah.
And the basis of every relationship, in my opinion, is trust.
Yeah.
It's
I think that's
totally
important.
trust. And it happens when sometimes an artist goes behind your back and does business on their own,
Yeah.
and they might know that you might already be marketing and talking to that client. Sometimes too, I get a job for an artist with a new client and the project goes really well. The client comes back to the artist directly, not trying to circumvent me or anything. Sometimes they
Right.
just don't understand the process.
Yeah.
So, it's important that I remain a part of that because at the end of the day, we're working together, right? We're like if you're making money, I'm making money. If you're
Yeah.
not making money, I'm not making money.
Right.
So we have to work together. And, I have my book of business. You also came into the agency with some clients that you had already been working with, but together we've been really building that up. So it is like a group effort.
Yeah.
It's a
I think-
relationship.
I think it's a good relationship. And sometimes it can get quite lonely if it's just like me on the job. So it's good to like know that, I have Karol, I have like the other agents who are supporting me.
Yeah.
Like if shit hits a fan, it's not just like me, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're not in it alone. So
Yeah.
like in any part of the project, we're on the same team working together to find the best way forward.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's very important.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how every relationship should be, right?
Okay. Do agents do content strategy and counseling for you?
Oh, like from like a marketing
I think,
perspective.
yeah,
Yeah,
marketing.
that's a good question. Not really. I've had clients ask that too. Like I cannot speak to like marketing strategies or like just market analysis or
Yeah.
TikTok trends. I'm not necessarily in that space. I can give opinions, but
Yeah.
I certainly tell artists, like social media is a necessary evil.
Mhm.
It's just like a free way to promote your work. It's very important. I'm also seeing what other artists are doing and we'll share that with artists and be like, I love the way that they shared their work here. Maybe that's something you can do. But at B&A, we do have our own marketing department
Yes.
that markets the agency as a whole.
Mhm.
So our artists are part of that. They won't be in every single post, but as a whole, we have a marketing department that does all of our newsletters and our social media.
Yeah.
This podcast. So that's what I can say to that. I hope
Yeah.
that's helpful.
No, for sure. And I think the agents at B&A are very open to like, any advice that artists may have. Like there was this one time where I talked to Sam about, where I can like push my work. I was feeling a little bit stuck and he just told me, this is like the next best thing. Like this is what you should do. So I think if you need it, then agents are definitely there to like give guidance and help you.
Yeah, for sure. And I also say too, like take it all with a grain of salt because when it comes to the algorithm, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what the winning formula is, but I can tell you one thing, I have a lot of opinions and I can always share them.
I think for me, like regarding to social media, I try to share as much work as I can. Especially, I think in the beginning, it was super helpful for me to just like get my work out. And that's the only way that I was getting clients in the beginning was because they saw my work on my Instagram and they said, oh, like I want something similar to that. Especially like with the Lenovo job, that was like the first project that I worked with on Fake Out of Home. And after that, like the Starbucks one referenced that. They were like, oh, like, can you do something similar to that? And then it was like Kate Spade. So it started rolling on to each other. So yeah, I think social media is definitely really important.
And it's not just for the clients too, right? Because you do a lot of like behind the scenes videos, like showing how I built this. And I think that's also very helpful for other artists that are working with the same softwares that you're working with. At the end of the day, we're all part of like a creative community that is not always as big as we think, So it's important to just kind of like speak to each other.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like being a part of the community. Like a lot of times I would meet like another 3D artist only to realize that I already follow them on Instagram. So yeah, there's so many benefits of like sharing your work on socials. Okay, next question. Do agents guarantee a certain amount of projects per month or income?
Ooh, I wish. I wish we could. I
I
do.
wish too.
I wish we could when it comes to very basic, the stock market. Stock market can guarantee that it's going to be up on highs every day, right? It goes up, it goes down, it settles
It's
in the middle.
unpredictable.
Sometimes it's unpredictable. So is advertising. So is, different brands and what they're doing with their marketing strategy. And there's so many other variables nowadays that we have to account for. And the landscape itself of like the advertising industry has been changing. So there is no guarantee. Sometimes we'll even sign an artist just as like a trial trial run for like 6 months or 1 year just to see like how will our clients respond to
Yeah.
this work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and we try to figure out why. We'll test certain things out, but there are no guarantees.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. You can't control, like, what people want and, like,
Mhm.
what clients come and go.
Yeah. And also sometimes, those slow periods will, as long as you're like staying with your craft and experimenting with it and finding inspirations and ways to really push your work forward, those slow periods are your time to really
Yeah.
do that with your portfolio. And that will typically inform the work that you will get next.
For sure. Next question. Can agents help pitch if you want to work with a specific client that they didn't reach out first?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I feel like one of the questions we like to ask our artists are, what's your dream client? Or like, what's your dream type of campaign? Like, what is something you really, really want to do? I think it's important to really hone in on that just to give yourself a target so that you can understand how your work will fit into that space. And then your agent can also go out and speak to those brands and try to get you a meeting or a presentation or just show your work to them and explain like why it makes sense for you and why this would be like the perfect business relationship. But also too, like, sometimes we do have to pitch on projects, and I have worked with artists on like how to make your treatment better, or like we're gonna have this meeting and you have a deck ready, like let's do a run through and talk about it. Maybe we cut back on this section to like make it a little more personal or something like that. I think it's important to be able to be comfortable around your agent and have them available to help you in those spaces.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
We're stronger when we work together. So.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a question for me. Do you get to choose what projects you work on, or some are mandatory? I think.
Imagine if every project was, you have to do this,
Yeah.
Jenny. You are required to. No, that'd be terrible.
No, I think like every project is not mandatory.
No,
Yeah.
it's honestly, in that situation, you're my boss because you tell me what you can and cannot do.
I mean, I think like the good thing about working with an agent is that they're on your side and they're
Yeah.
on your team. I think like having an agent is definitely a two-way street. Carol's bringing me work. I'm also forwarding work that I'm getting on my own.
And it works too when you're like in very busy periods and you're like in the thick of it of a project and you're getting all these other inquiries, and I can get those like preliminary conversations out of the way for you so that you can just stick to like making your deadline.
Yeah, no, we're definitely like a team.
Yeah.
Like we're both
Yeah.
like bringing something to
Yeah,
the table.
and I'll like give you a quick call and say, just a quick call about this client.
Yeah.
Like, I think we can make it work. Let me see where I get with them, and I'll talk to you in a week. Like,
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, Karol.
Always a pleasure, of course. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. And like and subscribe.